You know what's funny about turning 45? People think you've got life all figured out. But the truth is, every stage has lessons. Some hurt, some heal, and some completely flip the way you see the world. Today, I want to share the biggest lessons I've learned. Not from books, not from gurus, but from falling, failing, and slowly learning how to stand again. At 20, I thought 45 was old. Now, I realize it's just halftime. It's not the end of the game, it's the middle. And the second half can be even better if you play it right. So if you're younger, listen close. These lessons could save you years of regret. If you're my age or older, maybe you'll nod and think, yep, I learned that the hard way too. On time and priorities. Lesson 1, time is not endless. At 20, you think you have forever. At 30, you're still rushing. But at 45, you start to see your days are numbered. And it's not depressing, it's empowering. Because knowing time is limited makes you protect it like treasure. You stop wasting it on gossip, fake friends, or endless scrolling. The people I once tried so hard to impress, most aren't even in my life anymore. The jobs I thought defined me, they were just stepping stones. At 45, I've learned that time with family, with true friends, and with myself, that's priceless. You realize late dinners with your parents, or laughter with your kids, matter more than any promotion. On failure and growth lesson 2, failure is a teacher. When I was younger, failure felt like death. I'd beat myself up for weeks over small mistakes. But at 45, I see failure as part of the process. Every failure pointed me to a new path. Every rejection saved me from something I wasn't meant for. You know what? Nobody really remembers your failures as much as you do. We carry shame for years, but the truth is, people move on. They're too busy worrying about themselves. The only one stuck in the past is you. At 45, I've learned to fail fast, learn the lesson, and keep moving. On health lesson 3, health is wealth, literally. At 25, you can eat junk, stay up all night, and still wake up fresh. At 35, the body starts whispering warnings. At 45, it starts shouting. If you don't listen, it will force you to stop. Exercise is not about abs anymore. It's about energy. It's about being able to play with your kids or walk without pain. Eating right isn't about looking good in photos. It's about feeling good every single day. I've learned, take care of your body now, or you'll pay for it later with interest. On money lesson 4, money is a tool, not a trophy. I used to chase it like it was the finish line. But at 45, I see it differently. Money is freedom. It buys you time. It buys you choices. It lets you say no to things that drain you. The richest feeling isn't a fat bank account. It's peace of mind. Knowing your bills are paid. Knowing you're not trapped in debt. Knowing you can walk away from a toxic job or a bad deal. At 45, I've learned, save, invest, but don't sacrifice your whole life just to look rich. On to relationships. Lesson 5. Not everyone is meant to stay. I used to think friends were forever, but life changes. People drift. Some leave, some betray, and it hurts. But at 45, I've learned it's normal. Seasons change, and so do relationships. The key is learning who's real. A real friend is the one who checks on you when there's nothing to gain. A real partner grows with you, not against you. And here's the hard truth. Sometimes you outgrow people you once loved. That's okay. Not every chapter has the same characters. On self-acceptance lesson 6, stop comparing. At 25, I wanted to prove myself. At 35, I compared my success to everyone else's. At 45, I finally get it. Nobody's path is the same. You can't measure your life by someone else's timeline. Comparison steals joy. Social media makes it worse. But here's the truth. Behind every perfect life online is a mess you don't see. At 45, I've learned to celebrate others, but focus on my own lane. My journey is mine. That's freedom. On forgiveness. Lesson 7. Forgiveness is for you, not them. Holding grudges is like drinking poison and hoping the other person suffers. At 45, I've learned. Let it go. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. I wasted years replaying old hurts in my head. It only drained me. When I finally let go, it felt like dropping a heavy backpack I didn't realize I was carrying. Forgive, release, move forward. Life's too short to stay stuck in bitterness. On risk and regret. Lesson 8. Regret hurts more than failure. Some of my biggest regrets aren't things I did. They're things I didn't do. The chances I was too scared to take. The words I didn't say. At 45, I've learned it's better to try and fail than to wonder, what if, forever. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you act despite the fear. Whether it's starting that business, confessing your feelings, or taking that trip, do it. The pain of failure fades. The pain of regret lingers. On happiness. Lesson 9. Happiness is simple. We complicate it with expectations and comparisons. But at 45, I've learned joy often comes from small things. A quiet morning coffee, a walk in nature, a good laugh with someone you love. The chase for big happiness can blind you. We think it's in the dream job, the perfect house, the luxury car. But when you finally get them, you realize they don't fill the hole. Happiness is not in the next thing. It's in the present moment, if you let yourself feel it. On legacy and purpose. Lesson 10. Legacy matters more than reputation. Reputation is what people think of you. Legacy is what you leave behind. At 45, I've started thinking more about the impact I'll leave on my kids, my family, my community. We spend years chasing titles, but nobody remembers your job title at your funeral. They remember how you treated people. They remember if you lifted others up. At 45, I ask myself often, what will remain when I'm gone? That's what guides me now. On gratitude lesson 11. Gratitude changes everything. When I was younger, I was always chasing the next thing. At 45, I've learned to stop and appreciate what I already have. Because what you focus on grows. If you focus on lack, you'll always feel empty. If you focus on blessings, you'll always feel rich. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means not letting them blind you to the good. Every morning now, I remind myself of 3 things I'm thankful for. It sounds small, but it rewires the mind. Gratitude turns enough into abundance. On change and growth lesson 12. Change is scary, but staying stuck is scarier. At 25, I clung to comfort. At 35, I avoided risk. At 45, I realized growth only comes when you step into the unknown. Every time I resisted change, life forced it anyway. Jobs ended, relationships shifted, situations collapsed, and every single time, looking back, change was a blessing. At 45, I don't fear it anymore. I embrace it. On humility and ego lesson 13. Ego is the enemy. I used to think admitting mistakes made me weak. Now I see it makes you stronger. At 45, I've learned the smartest people aren't the loudest in the room. They're the ones still willing to learn. Humility opens doors. Ego shuts them. When you're humble, you grow. When you're proud, you stagnate. At 45, I'd rather be a lifelong student than a know-it-all stuck in yesterday's wisdom. On letting go of control lesson 14. You can't control everything, I used to try plans, people, outcomes, but life laughs at control. At 45, I've learned the only thing I can control is myself, my effort, my attitude, my response. When you release the need to control, you feel lighter. You stop stressing about things beyond your reach. You focus on what's in your hands today. That's freedom. On Family Lesson 15. Family isn't perfect, but it's priceless. I used to take family time for granted. At 45, I know these moments don't last forever. Call your parents, hug your kids, show up for the people who'll be there when the crowd disappears. It's not about being the perfect parent, sibling, or child. It's about being present. Family doesn't need your perfection. They need your presence. On Simplicity, Lesson 16. Simplicity beats complexity. The older I get, the less I want. Not more stuff, not more noise. Simpler routines, fewer but deeper friendships, less drama. Peace is the new luxury. We spend half our lives accumulating, and the other half realizing we didn't need half of it. At 45, I've learned it's not about how much you add, it's about how much you subtract. On Patience Lesson 17, patience is power. At 20, I wanted everything fast. At 30, I got frustrated when things didn't happen on my timeline. At 45, I see that good things take time. Healing, success, trust, love. The slow process teaches you discipline. It builds character. Instant success fades quickly. Slow growth lasts. Patience isn't passive. It's active faith that your effort will pay off in due time. On self-care and boundaries. Lesson 18. Boundaries protect your peace. I used to say yes to everything and everyone. It drained me. At 45, I've learned the word no is powerful. Saying no to what hurts you is saying yes to what heals you. Segment 38. Self-care isn't selfish. It's survival. Rest when you need to. Walk away from toxic people. Protect your energy, because you can't pour from an empty cup. On Resilience Lesson 19. You're stronger than you think. I've been through losses I thought would break me. I've faced storms I thought I couldn't survive. But at 45, I see I made it through all of them. Pain teaches resilience. Every hardship becomes proof of your strength. The next time life knocks me down, I don't say, why me? I say, I've been here before. I know I can rise again. On love and connection. Lesson 20. Love deeply, even if it risks pain. At 45, I've learned that walls don't protect you. They only keep love out. Yes, love can hurt, but not loving at all hurts worse. Connection is what makes life worth living. Share your heart. Tell people you love them. Hug longer. Speak kinder. At the end, it's not the things you'll miss. It's the people. On Wisdom and Learning Lesson 21. Wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing what truly matters. At 45, I've learned knowledge fills your head, but wisdom fills your life. Keep learning no matter your age. Read, listen, observe, but also live, because experience teaches lessons no book ever could. On Faith and Trust. Lesson 22. Faith keeps you steady. I don't mean religion alone. I mean trust. Trust that life has a rhythm, even when you don't see the full picture. At 45, I've learned to trust the process more and panic less. Every storm I thought would drown me eventually passed. Every unanswered question eventually made sense. Faith doesn't remove problems, but it gives you peace while you walk through them. Closing reflections. So, what's the biggest lesson at 45? Life is short, but it's also wide. It's not just about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. And that's in your hands. Stop waiting for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. Live now. Love now. Forgive now. Take the trip. Make the call. Write the book. Start the dream. Because 45 taught me the worst thing isn't getting older. It's wasting the time you still have. If you're younger than me, take these lessons seriously. They'll save you years of pain. If you're my age, know you're not alone. We're all figuring it out. And if you're older, I thank you for paving the way, for showing us that growth never stops. So here's my final thought. Life doesn't get easier, but you get wiser, you get stronger, you get clearer about what truly matters. And that, my friends, is the gift of turning 45.